Deputy McDonald.
And Tánaiste, as you say, the images on the primetime expose were indeed unacceptable, and people across the board have expressed deep shock, and the images were shocking. But the reality is that we've been here before. This isn't the first occasion on which maltreatment in creche facilities has come to light. We've been here before. Going back 6 and 7 years ago, serious issues were identified, and since 2008, problems with understaffing, inadequate supervision, failures in vetting, all of those have been identified. And as these shocking facts emerged, governments were appalled, they were horrified, they were shocked. They promised speedy reform, the publication of inspection reports, beefed up inspection regimes, a renewed focus on quality. But Tánaiste, the reality is that nothing was done. And the responses were far from robust. So it's not just the operators of creche that have let children down. Government have let children down. Tánaiste, I believe that what we saw on Tuesday night is a direct consequence for a society when the roles of carers and caring are relegated to the second division. And I'm very sorry to say that in many of the decisions taken by this current government, that trend of undervaluing and in some cases undermining carers and carers' work has continued. The Taoiseach yesterday spoke about the brand image of childcare being of the highest standard. I'm not really sure what he meant by brand image. But however, this comes from the same government who on its JobBridge web page is carrying adverts looking for childcare workers, including from Giraffe Childcare, one of the brands associated with this scandal, seeking interns to work with children with no experience for €50 a week. So Tánaiste, what's that all about? And how do you square that with your proclaimed commitment to quality and safety for children? I don't believe that state funding should go to any facility that does not conform with the highest level of inspection, regulation, qualification and quality care. The funding should be stopped. And I notice that you're being very careful on this issue. You say that the funding can be stopped, that the funding should be stopped. We need to hear that the funding will be stopped. If you're not prepared to say that very clearly, Tánaiste, then you have no prospect of restoring parents' confidence and protecting, let it be said, the good reputation of the very, very many quality childcare providers who operate right across this country. So square the circle for me, Tánaiste. How is it that €50 a week for an untrained, unqualified person is appropriate from your government? Why are these jobs advertised and JobBridge? And why have you been so coy on the matter of future or indeed current funding? State it clearly that the funding will be stopped where regulations are breached.
Thank you, Deputy. Tánaiste.
Well, I think that any parent this morning, who's concerned about leaving his or her child into a childcare facility after what they saw on the television on Tuesday night, the last thing they need to hear now is it being turned into a political football here in this House. We have a problem here that we need to resolve, and we will resolve it. And I think that there is an obligation, on everybody to work to do so. This government has put in place a dedicated Department of Children, the Minister in charge of it, to deal with issues associated with children. This is a very serious issue that has to be dealt with, and the issues that have been raised in the television programme have to be dealt with and will be dealt with. The funding, to answer your question directly, the funding will be cut. There's no question about that. If we have a power to cut funding, funding will be cut where standards are not being maintained. This government will not tolerate a situation where taxpayers' money is being used to subsidise facilities that are not treating children properly. We may be absolutely clear about that. On the issue of inspections, as I've said, there will be a national regime on inspections that is being worked on. The inspections that have been carried out to date, an analysis has been conducted of those. The results of inspections will be published online so that parents themselves can see exactly what has been found in inspections. With regard to your remark about JobBridge, there were 3 facilities that were referred to in the programme. 2 of them have never had JobBridge interns. 1 did, but that internship finished in April of this year.
Thank you. Deputy McDonald, 1 minute. Thank you.
It's not a matter of political football, Taoiseach. It's a matter of accountability and good governance, and it's about setting the minds of parents right across this state at ease, that they're not listening again to the same old story, but that there is a genuine and urgent commitment to ensure quality of care for our children. I asked you not about JobBridge in the past tense. I'm asking you about positions that, as we speak today, are being advertised on that website, which, let me repeat, is for €50 a week for people with no qualifications. Why are those posts being advertised on that website? How on earth is that appropriate? It was never appropriate, let's say that, and it even more so given your stated outrage and shock in response to the prime time programme. Yes, you have had a Minister for Children, and we welcomed that development at the time. But let's say this, you've had the Minister in place for 2.5 years. That's a long time in the lifespan of a child. How many children have started or indeed finished their time in preschool care and creches in that time? So there's no point in coming here telling us that you're horrified by this situation, and I have no doubt that you are, Taoiseach. But you cannot be, on the one hand, horrified by breaches of regulation. You cannot state so fulsomely a commitment to proper standards and the safety and protection of our children in childcare, while JobBridge, a government website, advertises yellow pack posts for €50 a week for childcare workers. Our children are worth more than that. The parents of Ireland expect better than that, and certainly the children deserve more than that.
Thank you. Taoiseach.
First of all, on the JobBridge issue, I can tell you now, there will be no JobBridge approved for any of the facilities that were named in that programme. So let's be clear. Let's be clear about that now for a start. Secondly, let's be clear. Let's be clear about it. Let's be clear about it. You raised the issue. JobBridge posts will not be approved for any of those facilities. We're clear on that? That's absolutely for any of those facilities that were named in that particular programme. Now, on the wider issue that you raised, and you said the Minister for Children and Department of Children is in place for 2 years. That's right, and a hell of a lot of progress has been made in that 2 years. We are now at the point where legislation is about to be brought in. I've responded to Deputy Martin in that situation. The Children First guidelines put on a statutory basis, a regime whereby childcare facilities will not just have to be notified to the HSE, has been the case in the past, but will have to be registered with the Child and Family Agency, which is being put in place, and that process has been underway for some time. The reports of the inspections will be published. Again, the work to prepare for the publication of those inspections has been underway for some time. It hasn't had to await the television programme. arrangements for inspections to be carried out throughout all parts of the country. That is being put in place. There is an absolute determination on the part of government and on the part of the Minister for Children in particular to deal with the problems that have been highlighted in that programme, not just the problems that have been highlighted in the programme, but issues that have been highlighted in inspection reports as well.
Thank you.
And nobody should be in any doubt about that. And on the issue of accountability, as I said earlier, the Health Committee is due to hold hearings and hear evidence from people in the HSE, people who are involved in childcare provision, from the Minister herself. On the 11th of this month, the issues around the legislation, they can be discussed at the Health Committee. We have absolute accountability, absolute transparency on this, because the parents of this country, and particularly their children who are attending the childcare facilities, deserve no less.